Alrighty, good afternoon, everyone. We're getting set up here for the duels tonight, and we will have a pal in the booth here with me tonight. It'll be none other than Tayden joining us along the call here, so that'll be nice. He's there. You can hear him in the background.
Yep. Accidentally had a stream going on another channel. Don't want that echoing problem.
Yeah, I usually have to turn down the volume on my, I have my other streams alongside me so I can make sure everything's working right. But
apart from that, it's been a while since I've been in the booth here.
I think we had you in the booth like the second or third race of 2023, didn't we? Was it at...
Yeah, I believe. Kyalami.
Yeah, one of the road courses. And so with tonight's program, we're going to do it a little bit differently. I'm going to get some qualifying times here as we sit here and wait patiently for NR to populate qualifying times. Two drivers will be secured for pole position here based on qualifying, just like standard Daytona 500 qualifying procedure. What's interesting here is we could even have one of our that needs to win or race to get in that could qualify and out qualify the rest of the field, and that could totally shake things up going into the duels tonight. Looks like...
Yeah, I can already see about mid-pack there. A lot of these guys and gals are separated by about thousandths of a second.
That must have been one hell of a lap for Braden Hunt, a 48.7. Compare that to last week's winner, Kellen Relic, with a 49.1. So I'll get one more lap here, and we'll wait and see who gets pole position.
Alongside with our mainstream cup guys, we also have some one-offers for this race, such as I know Jeffrey's in it. I can't remember quite who else.
Yep, we got the actually the one at the top of the list right there, Braden Hunt in a one-off start. Eli the Wolf. Keep going down the list. You got John Hagan making a one-off. And all these one-off entries, such as Roach there as well, they must race their way in or get up at the front of the qualifying session here. Maybe they only do one lap. I thought in super speedways they'd give them 2 laps, but it looks like as time is running down on our qualifying session here, it might very well be Braden Hunt and Kellen Relic. And so Braden Hunt was going to be in duel number 1, and that was going to involve 8 drivers that needed to race their way in. And now that is official. Braden Hunt qualifies for pole position alongside Kellen Relic. And that means there's going to be just 7 drivers eligible to race their way in duel number 1. So, quick rundown for everyone else that I don't think the times changed. Mostly was still alone, the same. Yep. So, we'll go ahead and brief pause here so I can save the results qualifying. And then we'll get on to duel number 1. Braden Hunt gets to rest easy knowing that he's locked into the main event.
Me personally, if I was Braden driving, I would just kind of roll out of the main pack and head towards the back and just kind of putt around the entire time by myself.
Yeah, it's probably a good idea to just chill and avoid tearing up any... Obviously, they can get into a backup car, but last thing you want to do is get to a slower backup car
It's gonna be interesting to see how this package works here. Because I've noticed we've had a lot of conveyor belt type racing. We saw that a little bit in the BTC race last night, but it's definitely limited itself on these versions of Daytona a bit.
Yeah, this is a new Daytona that I have not used before. Luckily, last night went well. Hopefully, we get just as good of a performance here tonight. So starting position is not going to be dependent on that qualifying session. We will actually let the game re-qualify for the duel itself, as it would take too long for me to manipulate the actual qualifying order and do all that. I don't have that all set up. So anyways, Braden Hunt, fastest in primary qualifying. He might end up starting mid-pack or worse.
Or not.
Or not. As we can see there, he managed to stay pole position for duel number 1 here. Alongside of him, 81 of Al Bunch. That'll be an interesting one to keep your eye on.
Could really see off this initial start how this outside lines go pop off. Because usually, sometimes they get a good run going down turn one, it just immediately stalls out. Or sometimes they just have a terrible start.
Last time we saw these guys race was just a week ago at Armory Digital Super Speedway. It's going to be interesting to see what they can do here at Daytona as the green flag waves.
See, that's what I thought. I wasn't really expecting the outside line to be able to keep up, as we'll go 3 wide for the lead into T1.
Definitely, it's gonna be a short race with only 50 laps. The duels, I think there'll be at least one pit stint. We might see green flag pit stops, or we might see a wreck, determining how that all plays out.
Looks like Brandon's gonna be able to hold on to the lead.
So of
the be...
oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, you're fine. He's not got much help up there. And we're going 3 wide again.
So of the full-time drivers that have to race their way in tonight, one of them being the 13 of Amp Me Person, which in its own is a surprise factor because Amp Me Person has been a dominant force within the NASR. Oh,
Not trouble.
And
we have wadded up about a good quarter of the field or so, or maybe more.
And quite a few of the drivers that need to race their way in, I could see were involved in that. We kept our eye on the 13 there of Amp Me Person, and he was able to cruise through it.
Man,
but the other one,
I saw him getting a little like 3 and 4 wide back, mid pack or so. I was wondering if something like that was going to happen.
And we'll go back here in a minute and see. But the other one that has to race his way in today is Ewan What Army, who was the runner-up for the championship in 2023. Looks like he was able to avoid being part of the chaos here. And so let's figure out. Oh, looks like the 20, Nate Newman, was involved. Man, it didn't even take us a whole lap. We were halfway through the first lap, and we've had our first caution of the day. So I think that kind of sets the precedent here for what to expect for even the Daytona 500 tomorrow. Okay, so the 20.
Yeah, it's just what I thought there. It just looks like 4 wide, they just got kind of hung together. And took a bunch of them with them.
Okay, so it really started 4 wide there with Al Bunch at the high side, then Gavin Legend, Chris Harvey on the inside, Nate Newman, unfortunately, right there too. They hooked the 56 of Stefan, collecting Jack Ross, Alan Taylor. The 88 there of John Hagan gets a clip. Oh, the 62 of Reddick, hard hit there. 94 of the Wolf. Honestly, though, there's not a whole lot of damaged vehicles. It just looked nasty.
I think that's just a classic case of being over-aggressive way too early.
Mm-hmm. We'll get one more focus here with the helicopter cam.
Man, I guess it's a short race and all, but you have time at these super speedways.
Al Bunch might not have a whole lot of damage there, but this truly is going to set us up for trying to keep an eye on who might have the damaged vehicle. Well, Atlee Weiss with the lead here under caution. Any retirements? Looks like everyone's still alive, but we'll see to what degree. Go ahead and shorten the pace lap by 1 here. So we'll be going green this next time by. They'll get doubled up on the backstretch. So who are some of your picks for at least for the 500 tomorrow?
At least for the 500, I have a feeling that some of these like truck and BTC guys, they'll go have a good shot because a lot of their schedule consists of a ton of super speedways.
Right? And so if you
We've always seen how fast Braden Hunt has been.
True, and he's been a truck regular all these last couple years at least, so he's putting that experience to, proven that experience.
Naturally, go have you and what army?
Yeah, and isn't that crazy that he's on the outside looking in right now? I mean, holy cow.
Yeah, it's definitely something that he's not used to.
And it just so happens it just the way that Daytona fell on the calendar that the first race of the season was last week and had a bad first race, so 35, top 35 in the points was out of the books for him. But even then, it's going to be a 46 car field here tomorrow, and only 4 drivers are going home. And the way it'll work out, we'll end up taking 2 from each duel, so the bottom 2 of each duel get knocked out and sent home packing. And that'll also help. It'll kind of force my hand not to black flag someone too quickly, because there's a lot on the line here today.
Yeah, especially in the super speedways. Since some of those cars at least have some sort of damage, it'll be interesting to see how they come in and play later in the race, assuming we stay green for a while.
Right.
I think they've gotten the memo that we shouldn't go full wide very early in the race.
Yeah, at least in Bridge to Cup, we were able to see, I think, about 10 laps before the first caution, so we know it's capable that we get, you know, some good long green flag runs. Braden Hunt with an impressive, you know, kind of out of nowhere. That 69 in second, that's Adam Gerber-Forian. Been out of the circuit for a while, hasn't been running much racing, but was able to get an opportunity to hop into that 69 car there.
And I'm about to retract my earlier statement about there being not much 4 wide. Some of these guys try to do it again.
Luckily for now, it's only 3 wide, but I'm impressed. Some of the damaged cars that are holding in there just fine. Doesn't seem like they lost too much in the aerodynamic department there. The crazy part is those that are running towards the back, they're locked into the race. We're looking in the mid pack here where everyone's trying to push it just that little extra, and there's a good chunk of them that are not locked in.
You see, some of these top guys are trying to get single file, attempt to pull away from the mess that's behind them. Looks like someone can't really quite tell who that is trying to go 4 wide underneath the 22, I believe. Top line's been holding strong here. Definitely something to do with this new Daytona and new package. But many of the old super speedways that we've gone to for years now, it used to always be the inside line was just super dominant, and it would just blow the doors off the outside line.
Yeah, and I like the way this track lays out. We get some good racing on both sides of the track. It was impressive watching in the Bridge Cup race last night that Hagen was on a drag race to the start finish line, and we had pretty much like a Darlington-esque finish at the, you know, photo finish with Hagen taking second place. Unfortunately, the lap traffic kept Hagen from catching back up to the winner of last night's race, Noah Hobson, who'd been trying as long as it took to get that first win, and finally it sunk in. So,
and this is something I didn't really expect to see tonight. Is this sort of spread out like mix of tandem drafting and Gen 4 style plate racing?
right? Yeah, they get kind of hooked up 2x2 right here at the front. I don't know if that has anything to do with potential damage to the other cars that are behind them. But really good racing so far. Look at Hagen making a move here, getting up into the top 5.
Outside line's got about as much help as don't really know what's going with that, but they don't got much help, and that doesn't help them going 3 wide.
We all know that Guido Piano there in the 37 is somewhat of a super speedway guru, as most of his big moments in his career have come at winning super speedway races.
Of this high-speed drone camera we have here, it will keep up with these guys going over 200 miles an hour.
It gives us a lot of fun shots this season too. We'll get different perspectives. It's a lot of fun.
As you see, Braden Hunt, I don't know what they have in that car, but that thing is flying out here.
These cars will definitely be under higher scrutiny going into the Daytona 500 tomorrow, so we'll have to keep our eyes on that 96. That's quite the unexpected. It's almost too good, but we'll see.
Reminds me of the days of Atlee Weiss and the Skittles fuel. See, now that inside line's starting to come to life.
Yeah, it looks like we've got quite a bit of cars that have lost the lead draft here towards the back. Keep an eye for a while here, but then I want to try to jump to the back and see who's all there. Ooh, Atlee in a sticky situation there. 4 wide with Hagen.
Tight off this corner. Think we have survived. I hope we have survived.
There we go, Guido and Eli the Wolf keeping it clean there. So I'm gonna go ahead and check. You got the 38 and the 89 at the back of the field. They are locked in on points, so they don't have to worry. The 12 of Harvey also locked in on points. So this will greatly determine his starting position for tomorrow. Yes, yep, you are locked in, even though you're running 23rd. So, trying to figure out who isn't. 81, ouch. Al Bunch suffered some significant damage. He's just trying to stay alive and perhaps gain some spots to better his starting position for tomorrow. Jack Ross is safe. Andre Stefan is safe. Man, we're getting through the nitty gritty. Even the 90 of, that is Gavin Gray, is safe. So this is peculiar because that means What Army is on the chopping block right now. Our runner-up in the championship from last year, he would be the first one eliminated as they run on track.
Man, that would be something.
And then the next one is Ant Me Person, just a couple more spots up. But Me Person's still fighting for position with a couple drivers here. That 69 will be the next position. Actually, the 73 of Bella Fawn. So those three, as they are 3 wide right there, they're all racing to get into the show.
Naturally, everyone wants to be in the 500, but not everyone can be in the 500. I think we're about to do something up here. I am not quite sure what some of these guys are trying to do, but not going to question it. I've noticed, at least through top 2 lines, I'm not sure if it's just driver error or intentional, because I see a lot of these guys kind of squeezing each other towards the wall. As Braden Hunt is still kind of just leaving the field.
Dang, that's absurd strength right there. 4 wide. Ooh, and this could be problematic. Sorted out
right on that left rear.
Man, they sorted back out to 3 wide here.
So something's got to give eventually.
One of the only flaws I've noticed with this track is we tend to get drivers pushing off the track coming from the start-finish line after the passing of the start-finish line heading towards turn 1. And I feel like it's a racing line glitch with the track. It doesn't happen very often, and it's actually kind of, it's actually kind of neat because it almost is so sporadic that it feels organic, that it's not like always going to happen every lap. So, but it does tend to happen is right about here. We will usually get guys that get bumped down below the yellow line, and sometimes that can cause a ginormous wreck when they try to rejoin the racing surface.
Exactly what we saw in the BTC race last night.
Mm-hmm. Man, Braden Hunt, that car is hooked up. Based on his performance here today, that car could be a little bit more colorful for the race tomorrow. They might actually have some sponsors jump on it.
Might even have a Skittles jump on.
I'm sure Atlee would approve. Okay, the 22 there, as we see on that low inside line, 22 of Trevor Walker. He's one of the drivers that needs to race his way in here today too. And it's not getting any easier for these guys as we're closing in on halfway. Halfway distance will be here before you know it.
Speaking of something that'll be here before we know it, the end of the season will come pretty fast, considering we just started. And speaking of just starting, we've had some rookies with surprisingly good performance. One of them being possibly the greatest name ever devised, Ham Burgerson, finishing second in the truck race.
Right? That was a feel good moment for sure.
So close to winning.
I feel like he's bound for victory lane somewhere along the line, so
I mean, if you finish second enough times, you might not win the race, but you'll win the championship.
yeah, consistency is really huge deal to getting, if you can't win, you might as well be consistent.
And I'm gonna kind of show myself off a little bit here, but that previously to the BTC, the Bush Series, the championship battle towards the end of the season with me and Al Bunch. Al had a crap load of wins, but I was able to be more consistent and still finish second, and I'm still sad about that.
And as you mentioned that, look who's come all the way up to second. None other than Taden Berggren.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of neat.
One of Tatum's close friends will be in duel number 2, the Canadian Jeffrey Gerald, who has flown his entire family down here to Daytona to watch him perform.
I apologize. It seems like I'm getting a little bit of glitch feedback. This is mostly a test here today to see. I've got some new tools and stuff to try and help make my frame rate a little bit smoother, along with the ability to use Discord and share screen. So I'm hoping that this is just a small blip on the screen. The powered hub for my USB ports, I think, is going to be a huge game changer as to my streaming, at least smoothness and whatnot. Game still tends to stutter, even though, I guess my computer's not like a supercomputer. It's a gaming laptop. And so with a gaming laptop, it's kind of what I expect out of it, at least.
Gets the job done.
It does, especially for a 20-year-old game at this point. It really gets bricked when I try playing iRacing, I've noticed. I can't even do any streams with iRacing because as soon as I do, my computer just about locks up. So this is about the capacity right here.
Yeah, usually I end up trying iRacing. Well, kind of a whole 28 FPS, but it's manageable.
And we just got by halfway here. It's not getting any easier for you and what army? Holy cow, man.
He's gonna need a big break here.
All he's going to need is for a couple cars to drop off. And I don't even know how he's this far off the pace. He didn't get in the wreck. Heck, his fast time must just be a rough run here today for him. .43 at Taden is safe and locked in, so there's no worries there for him. Man, that bubble keeps changing because this pack right here is just jam-packed with drivers that need to make it in. If we had...
And correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure Braden Hunt has led every single lap so far.
I think he lost a lead for a brief moment there with lap traffic, but other than that, he's maybe only lost about 2 or 3 laps that he didn't lead. Like this right here, he's going to catch up to the 81 of Al Bunch, and that's going to wool him up a little bit. That'll give the 22
Maybe
of
a bit.
Trevor Walker an opportunity here. That's just going to bunch him back up like an accordion. Bellafon attacking for the lead here.
Might be able to get him here. Go come down the line. I think no, Braden just edges her out.
And Bellafon there, one of those ones that needs to race their way in. As well as John Hagen at the high side. He's trapped up in the high groove here. Trevor Walker on the inside. Man, everyone's playing nice since that first caution.
I think I learned the lesson.
Just give them a couple more laps. Once it gets down to 10 to go, that's when the pressure cooker gets turned up to 11. At this point, I don't know if What Army was just trying to be extra cautious to stay out of the 3 and 4 wide chaos, but almost safetied up to a point where it might bite him.
And Jacob, I do dare say, we might have made the most hybrid of hybrid styles of racing I've ever seen. Because we can go from 3x3x3 to tandem drafting to single file racing to Gen 4 style racing, and then throw in something else in there and just be whatever the heck this is.
Right? No, it's almost reminiscent of old school Daytona, the way they're racing here. It's uncanny. It's almost super, it's way different. It's almost, yeah, crazy.
It would be an adjustment for some of these guys that are used to racing these big old packs at these very wide tracks. And compared to other super speedways, Daytona is not wide whatsoever.
Now, back on that bubble again is John Hagen. Let's see, do we have any retirements? Nope, still no retirements here today. As we're going to be down to 18 laps to go this time by.
And it looks like that lap traffic did not slow Braden Hunt down whatsoever. He's just been able to be quick, fast, speedy, and all the above.
It's crazy to think that this actual chassis is a year-old chassis, and not a whole lot changes from year to year with the Sylvania Cup chassis, at least for these last 2 years. But man, maybe it's just a fresher engine or something. That car, you never see this kind of dominance at Daytona. Usually the lead changes are the thing that are of mention when it comes to super speedway races, and sometimes it'll be upwards of, in a 50 lap race like this, maybe 15-20 lead changes. But I think we've seen all but maybe 2 or 3 lead changes here today in duel number 1.
Well, assuming he doesn't get disqualified from an inspection, I think he's definitely my pick to win the 500 this year.
Well, I'm excited for it because he's part of the JSR stable, so he's representing my team out there, and it's a little bit, it seems unfair because it's like, oh no, it's rigged. My team's out there dominating. It's like, no, that wasn't my goal. I'm surprised too, honestly.
Man, maybe you could give good old Chip Ganassi over here some engines.
Chip Ganassi likes winners.
Yeah, I'd say so.
Well, shoot, 15 laps to go, and I'm thinking we might have at least a round of green flag pit stops.
And I think if we have any caution, I don't think it's going to be from Rick. It might be from somebody running out of fuel.
Right. No, and there's going to be people that try to push it, especially with a position in the 500 on the line. Now, this is starting to get interesting, as we might see who has anything for Braden Hunt. Braden Hunt's been making it look way too easy out there. The Jaguars have been on the upward swing in the last couple of years, so it's impressive to see what Jaguars brought to the NASCAR fold here.
At least we're not like F1 and don't let certain manufacturers in.
Well, and that too is an interesting side topic, is the fact that we have a battle amongst the manufacturers, our experimental group, as it's called. Jaguar being one of those manufacturers, and Mercedes.
Speaking of pit stops, I think we're about to see some.
John Brinker coming down pit road here, so this will be the first of the ones to take green flag pit stops with 13 to go.
And he might have just played himself strategy-wise, since he's not going to have much, if any, drafting help at all, as we have another group pulling.
Now, this could get to be the danger zone as people start trying to take a trip to pit road. That's often cause for wreck. But on my topic I was talking about, there's a couple manufacturers out there, 4 to be specific, as part of this experimental manufacturer battle. 2 of those 4 fighting for, the right to stay in the series for next year. Currently leading that is Jaguar and Dodge. The ones that are trailing, however, is Mercedes and BMW. And so what would happen is they would get relegated down to Bridge to Cup and be a manufacturer marker down there in the Bridge to Cup series as we try to iron out the best of the best up here in Cup. Because right now we've got 9 different manufacturers, and that's just a bit much, I feel. So I wanted to try and simplify it. And what better way than to have your manufacturers actually battle it out to earn their right to stay in the Cup Series here.
And I just realized now, Al Bunch, who got caught up in that wreck earlier, does not have a tailpiece on it at all.
No. And luckily for him, since he's locked into the main event here, he's going to be able to perhaps get a repair, maybe go to a backup for the Daytona 500 tomorrow. But the only reason he's still out there running, he's hoping that maybe a couple other cars get wrecked out here and that maybe he can gain some more spots to better his starting position.
Can't quite tell who that is, but I think they might have just ran out of fuel.
That was the 37 of Guido Piano. It looks like he's finally making his trip down pit road here. He stayed out the longest of everyone. Might have pushed it just a little too far. And there's Braden Hunt. As they start cycling back around, all the cars rejoining the track. Wow, what Army is staying out trying to push it on fuel mileage? Is that right? I don't know if that's right. Coming this time, maybe? No? So I'll have to see where it updates him on the ticker here. He's probably desperately hoping for a caution to come his way. Okay, now I gotta do research. I gotta see if he actually pitted or what the deal is here. He did pit, but because of his pit stop, it looks like he's actually gonna gain ground on a bunch of people that had bad pit stops.
That's a strategy call and a half.
Holy cow, Hagen has hopped up to what might be the lead now. The 28 there in front of him. These two, have they pitted? Yes, they pitted earliest, so big change of events with our pit strategy involved here. And no longer is Braden Hunt leading the field. Alan Taylor leads the way over John Hagen with lap car in between them. The only way I guess I could wrap my head around this is perhaps they pitted together and were able to draft together, allowing for them to maximize the speed on exit. Because from Hagen, it looks like there's a whole steep cliff dropping off to third. Nate Newman, who was, I think, about at one point almost going to go a lap down. The LFG Motorsports teammates sticking together here, and they've worked their way up to third and fourth. I wonder if it was a gas and go for some guys on pit road. Because that could explain it too. Don't take tires, just take gas and get out. Yep, track position. So what did Braden Hunt do on pit road? He must have took tires, I bet. Braden Hunt gets on pit road with some form of trouble? Maybe he just parked it because he knows he gets to start front row tomorrow. That's unusual. I don't see anything on there that says he's got damage, so... Huh.
Call me a conspiracy theorist, but maybe he took something out of the car to make it less illegal so they don't find it in time for inspection.
I don't know, man. That was unique. And now our bubble spot changes around a little bit. We'll have to figure out who's on the bubble after all that played out. So Aunt Me Person still seems to be the odd man out here. And he's all the way up in 12th. So, yeah, 81, 93, 56, 37. Man, that's crazy. He's running 12th and he's still not in the show. All the people that need to race their way in are running in the top 10. Apart from Aunt Me Person, who's a seasoned veteran at this point. Eli the Wolf would be your second one to get knocked out. But they're catching up to What Army here. What Army gets passed by that group there. He's going to have to hope that he doesn't get passed by Eli the Wolf. That would knock him out. And I just can't believe that our bubble spot is for 10th place right now. That's a tight field of drivers right there. And there we go. Ewan What Army gets past. Eli the Wolf is now in the show by slimmest of margins as we still have 5 laps to go here. It just seems like What Army's car is struggling here today. I don't know what the problem is, but they tried the strategy game to get back to the front of the field, and it looks like it might have cost them. '69 there of Adam Gerber-Forian now right at the bubble. And that's for 9th position.
Got some lap traffic up ahead of you.
Hagen's still fighting with Alan Taylor here for the potential dual win here. Still 3 laps to go.
I mean, I'd say historically, we've had one mild duel and one stupid, insane, what was that race duel.
So we might have the wild one next, you think? This one was mild on most part.
Yep. Hot take here, but next race is going to be the first lap of this race, just replayed over and over and over.
Okay, so this will be majority of our what we want to watch, because these are all of our transfer spots in one big gaggle of cars. Ooh, the 81 of Al Bunch is going to slow up the draft there for Nate Newman. That's crazy. 4 of the drivers need to race their way in. They're all 4 right there. Just throw a blanket on top of them. Eli the Wolf, Trevor Walker, Bella Fawn, and Adam Gerber-Forian. It's gonna hurt hard for you and What Army just to be this close and yet be so far away from the 500 field. Braden Hunt dropping to the back here, perhaps a safety move on his part. What Army has got at least another 3 miles to go here to make the show, or else die trying. He's got his sights set on that 73 of Belafon. That would be for position to get in. But he's got at least 2 lap cars in between him until he can even catch up to that. I'll hop up to the front real quick. It looks like Alan Taylor's pretty much got the deal there. So this is the battle for the transfers right here. Nate Newman trying to do what he can to give Bossman at least a shot here. Racing back up into the crowded mixture of transferees. Nate Newman, has to settle in there behind the 22 of Trevor Walker. What Army with a little bit of a surge there, but it ain't going to be enough.
Hi, Captain.
Well, that seals the deal. I am in awestruck that the number 1 car is going to miss the field. that
Oh my.
And he even finished 11th. Did not do bad in the duel, but just was not enough to make the show here. That's heartbreak for you and What Army. Aunt Me Person as well is going to have to go back to the drawing board and figure out what went wrong.
Yeah, I really have only one thing to have for you and What Army. Quite sad. And I won't lie, that is pretty embarrassing.
So, if anyone missed out on that first duel, someone might have to go find you and What Army and console them after a hard hit like that there today. Runner-up championship in 2022, and he's going to miss it even with an 11th place in duel number 1. Those that transferred in, Monty Shangle in on points, will start at the very back end of the field. Gavin Legend, Chris Harvey, Al Bunch, Gavin Gray, Jack Ross, Andre Stefan, and Nelson Chacon. Those are all your drivers that finished 1 lap down here in duel number 1, but they are safe. They'll be starting towards the way into the field, but get to fight for it. Guido Piano, James Reddick, and John Brinker, followed by Louis Tross, Taden Berggren. That gets you up to 13th. Those guys from 13th on back, all locked into the show. Aunt Me Person finishes 12th here today and is knocked out of the Daytona 500. You and What Army finishes 11th and is knocked out. So obviously from the turmoil of losing out, there is the bliss of making the show, and we can now safely say that Adam Gerber-Forian, Trevor Walker, Belafon, and Eli the Wolf are all into the show. They join your pole setter Braden Hunt to fight for it, and even John Hagan in his first series debut finishes 2nd in duel number 1, right behind Alan Taylor. So I think duel number 2 is gonna be even more exciting than this one was. And we still have some shock and awe that can happen in that one with who could get knocked out.
I mean, as if you already didn't have the one of you and What Army being in a place that he couldn't make the 500, but now he's out of the 500 completely.
Well, and maybe, maybe it'll be a wake-up call. Maybe it'll help him. Obviously, Atlee Weiss won the championship, and he only finished 46 of the 48 races last year to get that championship. So who's saying that What Army ain't trying to rewrite the scripts in his favor like that too?
Yeah, maybe that's what the script writers wrote up for the season. I don't know.
Did you have any ignition problems? Did you have that same ignition problem? Brake sensor went off. I thought we ran a different...
Okay, we're going to get set up for duel number 2 here.
See, maybe some of these guys watch the last duel and they'll figure out that going 4 wide and on the first lap is not a great idea.
Right? Man, I'm impressed though that they were able to keep it clean for the other 48 laps after that first wreck.
Favor, touch all your seatbelts, touch all your connections, touch your Honda. You get everything like you want it. Favor, touch all your seatbelts, touch all your connections, touch your Honda. Just make sure you get everything like you want it. Favor, touch all your seatbelts, touch all your connections, touch your Honda. Just make sure you get everything like you want it.
Okay. So duel number 2, it looks like Kellen Relic and Tyler Landa on the front row here. Kellen Relic picking up where he left off with his win last week on pole position in duel number 2 here. And so those that need a good race here, the 68 of Zach Armstrong there needs to race his way in. The 63 of Lynn Farrell and the 09 of Matthew Fastnot. And of course our series debut for Kevin Xavier, otherwise known as Driver X, will have to race his way in. Jeffrey Gerald, your buddy.
Canada's pride.
Kat Durham and Roach as well, so we're off and racing here in duel number 2. There's
Maybe
Jeffrey Gerald.
Good old Jeffrey. Probably one of the nicest people I've ever met in my life. Very, very kind. Lives up to that Canadian stereotype of always saying sorry. I see we'll be a bit more mild and not going 4 wide off the start.
They have settled into a bit of 3 wide formation here.
I think this duel's going to be a bit more exciting, primarily for the fact that we do not have one car that is stupidly fast.
Got Kara Shangle to the front there with Liz Shangle pushing her. Tyler Aspinall, Tyler Shangle, Jacob Shangle, basically the whole Shangle clan in this duel here. The only one missing was Monty Shangle, who was in duel number 1. Yes, you do. There is an Aldo Benedetti sighting. That is Tristan Reams, who was our road course master in 2023. And with that, he moved to Mercedes this year, hoping to keep that road course prowess on tap.
I saw just a little bit ago that 34 was trying to look to the inside of the 63 and potentially try and make it full wide.
Tyler Shangle, that's leading the race right here, is the winningest driver in Sylvania Cup history, to the tune of 35 plus wins to his tally. Second to that is none other than Jacob Shangle, but that hopefully someone can catch up to that win tally. Oh, that is not good.
That's sketchy.
Oh, there's a blown engine.
Oh,
No.
Oh, that might have saved the field.
Well, that might have just settled. Lynn Farrell's one of the drivers that need to race his way in here today, and sadly,
it goes up in flames.
That settles one transfer spot out of the race already. We can see real quick if it was something severe. Engine damage, 60% damage to the engine. That's probably a day ender. Even if it's not a day ender, he's going to go laps down here, and it's going to be really hard to get back into it. So, oh, and now we're wrecking at the front of the field.
They go. Oh, this is going to be bad.
Oh, damn, that was a hard hit for the 35, I think. I saw him almost get rear-ended. It looked like the car went nose rear-end up.
Yeah, I saw it too. Well, it seems to be somewhat fine, so I don't think it went completely over.
Oh, it got on the wall.
Oh, it was up on the wall.
Oh, and he was up at the front of the field, too. That's a bummer.
It turns out it did not really save the field from killing themselves.
Well, that's an interesting place. We have not seen them wreck at that spot in the track yet. So that's a new one.
Good. I was thinking back in my head that all those cars back there, I'm not sure if they had enough time to get slowed up and avoid piling into the few cars that were stopped. Luckily, I think we only had about 2 stopped cars and kind of saved ourselves from catastrophe by creating another catastrophe.
Kellen Relics involved in this one. I think this might be our best camera angle here, is keep an eye on Kellen, since his car doesn't get full-on Lightning McQueen. The 35 did a Lightning McQueen there.
Something that I've seen a few times at smaller tracks, not a big track like Daytona.
Yeah, that's a lot for that car. And honestly, that 35 might not be very, very wore out from that either. I think he could probably... Yeah, we might want to do an in-car on him. Watch from the cockpit.
Might need a new set of pants, though. Kind of squeezed the rear end into the wall.
Now we can say we've seen a wall ride at Daytona.
Ross Chastain could never.
But like I said, I wonder if 35 could still make the show here, especially with the 63 having retired out already.
That's virtually the same way we saw that accident in the first duel.
Just a lot earlier on track. And see if we've got any retirements after that. The 63 is retired. So Lynn Farrell will not make the show here. Full-time entry, actually, believe it or not. So one of our full-time entrants will have to pack it up and go home. 35 still out there on track. Looks like he's going to rejoin the tail end of the field there, you can see.
How that car doesn't get retired, but some of these other cars do is beyond me.
You got a double Tyler Squared, Tyler Aspinall and Tyler Shangle both retired.
5 times fast.
Okay, and then we'll go ahead and do the pace lap minus because we don't need another pace lap. It's almost perfect that I can get enough time to watch the, we can watch the wreck and do some analysis on that and then still get back in time to reset the field. It's going to be Liz Shangle and Tyler Landa at the front of the field, followed by Tristan Reams, Matthew Fastnot, Driver X and Chaz Chadwick, Chris Hergeson.
Wonder how many points that was worth. I'd give that a good solid. I'd give that a 7 out of 10.
He stuck the landing.
Yeah.
Could have just landed on his side. Never. I think we've seen that happen before, where a truck actually got stuck on its side, never got righted, and actually forced it down to get towed down pit road.
Yeah, the truck series is just something else.
Alrighty, so the 35 of Cat Durham might be a little bit down, but he's not out. Pace car's off, and we're going to get going here again. These engines lugging up to speed. It's going to be interesting to see if Cat Durham's even got speed with that car. He's with the crew of damaged vehicles here. Kellen Relic and Kara Shangle both with some significant damage on their cars.
Seems to keep up somewhat well.
And you never know, we might have the chaos like we were talking. This could be the chaotic race. I'm impressed. Rear end you might not need as much at a track like this, as long as your front end can still gotta imagine the aerodynamics without a spoiler. That thing's gotta be an evil nightmare to drive. He's capping out at about 186 right now, and he's actually going to try to get past Kellen Relic here.
Seems to be a decent bit faster.
See if he can get a draft dance here with Kellen Relic, but unfortunately that side-by-side action is going to slow them both up from keeping with that lead group.
Of which looks might try and go 4 wide again.
There we go. Xavier to the lead here. Is he going to lead the lap this time? It looks close. He led his first lap here in Sylvania Cup action. And get shuffled there for a moment. Yeah, they've lost the lead draft pretty badly there. Matthew Fastnot is the first car on the bubble as he needs to race his way in. He's going to get by Jeffrey Gerald and put Gerald on the bubble spot.
Just like I was talking about earlier, it seems like the outside line kind of fades. The inside line doesn't really go stupid fast as it used to. The middle line just kind of stays there.
Well, it's impressive that yeah, there's a progressive race line around this track. You've got, it might kind of bounce around depending on how many cars are pushing. That high line's getting pretty well sorted up above, and You got 5 down low, 5, 6 up above. That middle line is deteriorated down to about 3, now up to 4. Here goes Jacob Shangle for the lead, 3 wide for second place, as Xavier leads another lap there. So for Cat Durham at the moment, he's going to have to hope for misfortune on one of the other contenders to fall back into his grasp.
Doesn't seem like many of these guys are able to get big, huge, massive runs up onto the lead car.
I haven't broke the news in the server for anyone that might not be tuned in. I'm gonna ping. Those are 2 big names for you and What Army and Ant Me Person to both get knocked out in duel number 1. That's headline worthy. I know of a few people that are going to be ecstatic, especially David Bird and Nate Newman, who seem to have a sincere rivalry with Ant, and now that Ant's going to miss the Daytona 500 here, I can only imagine the banter between those 3.
Definitely probably be just a tad bit of banter.
Man, and What Army, he gave it everything he got. He tried to work the strategy and do everything he could. It was a tight field. That was a tough battle. And it's looking kind of like the same thing going on here, because all of our title contenders, or rather the ones that need to race their way in, are sticking pretty close to the front here. Jeffrey Gerald on the bubble, but he's still within the lead draft, and he can get positions to knock someone else back onto the bubble as well.
Oh, speaking of 4 wide, they were doing something up there. Doesn't look too fine and dandy. He was completely clear to go high or low there, but just decides to stick it out and somehow works out.
It's almost like they get into a arrowhead formation. And it's when the leader's trying to block 2 different draft lines behind him. And he's doing it so well that he's blocking the momentum of the one draft above and down low, and it creates this very unique arrowhead effect that I've never seen at super speedways before. Look at that right
and
there
man,
again.
This package is something else. Also, to add on, that middle line, still doing that arrowhead thing that you were just talking about, kind of fell apart.
Mm-hmm. And here comes the 42 of James Robert. Give him Burnt
And
Money
we got
Racing.
slow car up ahead.
Give him Burnt Money Racing a good run here in duel number 2. Oh, Chris.
Oh, let's go check up everybody.
So we might have to DQ the 21 there, as that's going to be problematic. Hopefully they get her stuck up high. There we go. Now they should be able to stay with this lead draft. Come on, Robert. Go, Robert. 4 wide. Whoa.
Stretching it thin.
Okay, so well, now Kevin Xavier might be in trouble here if he loses the draft. He's still in a transfer spot as he runs. The 35 further behind him would be the one still knocked out here today.
Dude,
But
that's one of my pet peeves. It's one of my pet peeves with NR is the AI lap traffic, because they decide that they're going to be Ryan Newman and not let anyone pass them.
right.
I mean, it's not terrible on short tracks, but on these big super speedways, it just F's everything up.
Yep. So we're gonna have to keep an eye on the 10 going forward here, but maybe he's in a safe spot there. If this gets a little bit more rambunctious at the front, we could have another wreck. He could easily avoid it. See, that's the other wild card here. Is I'm amazed at how clean they race after the first caution. This one, I think we've got a larger field that survived that wreck than we did in Duel 1. So Duel 2, it's a little bit stronger competition here. And with as many strong competitors still running in the lead pack, that's always a recipe for disaster. So
I feel like it's only a matter of time before someone decides to go do something stupid and end up piling up a good chunk of cars.
and it'll be a huge factor for those trying to make the show because they're all right here in the lead pack. Apart from the 35 of Cat Durham and the 10 of Xavier. Impressive there from Roach fighting for the lead in that kind of green and purple car without any sponsors on the sheet metal.
Doing some kind of like double arrowhead for a second there. We can't handle 4 wide. I don't think we should try 5 wide.
If we're 5 wide, then there's a caution. That's all there is to that. So
One of the things with these Sylvania Cup cars is that a very large spoiler on the rear deck lid, it makes it kind of hard to see in front of the car that you're pushing.
right? No, it does kick. It makes it what these guys do that much harder and that much more impressive that they're able to wheel these bad beasts around with minimal visibility in front of them. They're basically at the whim of their competitor at that point.
might be trying 4 wide. Not better right there. I can tell that some of these guys want to try and go 4 wide, but they end up backing out at the last second.
Kind of seen that factored in with the Bridge to Cup race, where there'd be a couple drivers that just run right at the tail end of this lead draft. And I think Brian DeBlank's one of those guys that's doing it here today, trying to, basically it's a safety buffer. You don't want to be with too many, cars in close proximity, but you don't want to let them get away either. A little bit of help there from his teammate Dalton Scott in the 50. Truly a huge factor to have teammates here at the Super Speedway.
See, I was about to say that we have a 3 kind of lead little line up front, and then immediately, I think 64 of Jacob Schenkel decided to make a very abrupt move to the inside. Yeah, again, I'm going to be a conspiracy theorist and say doing that might end up being preparation for in case you have to win on the last lap. At any real super speedway race, that can work just about anywhere if you can pull it off fast enough.
Right. This really does kind of feel like the calm before the storm, though.
I do see up ahead that we have some traffic. I'm not sure if those two up there just doored each other or what just happened, because they's got all sorts of out.
It did look like the 8 and the 7 made contact there.
Not sure what that was about.
Yeah, there's a bit of a bump there.
Maybe there's secretly beef between the two of them.
Well, and yeah, if they keep doing that, we could get that caution that we've been pretty much not many cautions in these duels so far. Missing out on them.
Kind of scares me for 500. See how that will end up being as we go 4 wide again.
Wow, even at pace without a drafting help. Xavier turning 49.5 compared to Cat Durham and his 50.4.
So it looks like the field did survive the 4 wide.
So the one thing I guess I can highlight on, since we know who's in from duel number 1, this will be the first time that the Walker brothers are racing each other in the Daytona 500. In this one here, we've got the number 5 of Jordan Walker. He's locked in on points. He'll join his brother Trevor Walker to to make for the brother duo getting their first opportunity to race each other in the 500.
Ooh, this is gonna be something. Got 2 lap cars blocking up 2 lanes and somewhat keeping pace.
Oh, that's ooh, it's gonna get kind of hairy at the front. It's gonna allow that inside line to just freight train their way around the rest of the field here. Wow, look at that. Okay, so I think the 99, the best opportunity will be to dip down low here. He does not take the opportunity. He's going to go with Chris Hergeson in the 6th, though. Hergeson and Paulus, now Landa and Gerald. This just got harder for the 35 of Cat Durham to make the show here today. Unless maybe he's planning on taking actions into his own hands here. That 66 car right behind him is into the 500 as they run, but if they pile up and wreck going into the first turn here, 35 could get away if the dust settles and he's able to still go. So just like that, the 66 of Roach might get caught out here and could potentially lose the draft. Ooh, that's gonna hurt hard as he's got basically, he's got boxed in there.
Goodness gracious.
That's a highway robbery if ever I've seen it. Roach got robbed. Man, and just like duel number 1, if things continue the way we're going, we might see green flag pit stops. Here goes Landa for the lead on Liz Shangle. Oh, Roach caught right back up with the lead draft. Good deal.
I bet I can phrase exact words out going over that radio transmission right now is a few. Hopefully that doesn't happen again.
Nice, Jeffrey Gerald to the front now for a brief moment. Next to the lap traffic, they're going to come up on, should be Xavier in the number 10. Do we have a taker on pit road already? Oh, the 66 of Roach.
Maybe he knows he's far enough behind that he can take this aggressive strategy and possibly get a dual win.
It could be. It's gonna be a gamble no matter what. Obviously, knowing, wow, taking tires in a 50-lap duel, that's
Questionable.
a little much. So we'll see. Took right sides. He's sitting on pit road for quite a while. There might have been some more to this pit stop than we know on the surface. Oh, 10 of Xavier down pit road now, so looks like he's just in for a gas and go though. Well, based on the scenario that's just playing out here, the 35 of Cat Durham should be into the transfer spot. until he pits. Man, how does it take this long to gas up on pit road? We did see a couple more takers on pit road. The 64 of Shangle, the 99 of Paulus. There we go, the 10. So if it's the same for everyone, I mean, it fair's fair. If it keeps them on pit road almost identical length of time. It's just different. I didn't know that they took so long to fill up on the super speedway here. There we go. Everyone gets back out on track.
I don't know, maybe this year we got extra big fuel storage.
I think this is kind of how the first duel played out, though. It gave us kind of a reset button, like they hit the shuffle on Spotify.
Not sponsored. I don't think so.
No. I wish.
Would be cool.
I wish I could play music on all my streams, but that's frowned upon with copyright strikes.
Boo.
So I found out the loophole is to just post my music videos on Reddit, because they won't remove your videos on Reddit. It's not like you're monetizing your Reddit posts. So yeah, if I ever had
not yet.
Not yet, yeah. If ever I had more time in my life, I'd probably make hype videos for the series on Reddit. So I think everyone's gonna make early pit stops here to get back into the. What's interesting is Cat Durham, I think, probably had to pit when he got wrecked. So he's gonna be able to last a little bit longer than those that never pitted at the initial, start of the race. And just like that, he's up to 11th. Unfortunately for Xavier, 21st right now, 2 laps down. 66 of Roach.
I think he's kind of out of it at this point.
Yeah, as of right now, Xavier would be the one on the bump spot to get eliminated here. But we don't know.
He would be an absolute miracle.
This 35 is still going to have to pit, though, so I don't think that's going to be the way it finishes, but... Wow, Cat Durham up to 4th with the significant damage and all. And about to be on mostly... Well, not a lap of his own, but he'll be at the front of the field here before long. That 8-car 4 position.
But he probably sees the rear end of that 35 car is going like, no way that car is up front right now.
There we go. Kellen's pitting, so that means Durham's really only got maybe another lap here before he's going to have to pit. Yeah, look how bad that car is. Totally trashed in the rear end. He's going to get freight trained here by the leaders. 78 there of Cam Jordan, the 8 of Bob Leader. This could be a wreck.
Let's go try to block him here. Somehow.
Wow, that's our lead crew, this 8-car pack right here. 7-car pack, actually. Durham cuts low, and he's going to have to pit. So, valiant effort, but it looks like it might be harder to get into the show now for the 35. especially with the duration of the pit stops here. So the 10 of Xavier just barely on the tail end of the lead lap here. Oh, actually gets past the 87 of Kellen, so now he's going to have to set
I'd say right now it's almost a lock that we have, I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, the first ever Canadian driver in the Daytona 500.
In the NASCAR world of racing, yes, actually. I've had Australians, I've had New Zealanders, but I don't think we've had a Canadian in the series yet.
So first for everything.
Right? We do have a new prospect in the wings. A Brazilian joined and will be starting his career in the truck series, so that'll be fun to see how it unfolds.
Mm-hmm. Think we have a British person as well.
Yeah, you and What Army's actually half British, half American, so
yeah.
So Xavier in the show right now as he got by the 35 of Durham. He's just got raw speed that Durham struggles with on the damage side of things.
It's definitely something that we did not expect coming into Speed Weeks here is for, at least LFG Motorsports, for Jeffrey Gerald, a one-off driver, to make it in over his team owner, you and What Army.
Right? That's pretty insane, actually. I feel for What Army, but I know that it's not gonna change the atmosphere in that camp. They're gonna keep fighting, and they're gonna put forth a valiant effort to try and get one step further in the championship battle this year. Atlee's gonna be a tough cookie to crumble. I'm feeling like Atlee could be a potential candidate to back up his championship bid from 2023 to try and defend it this year. Yeah, wow, there's about a whole second difference in Xavier to Durham just based on the damage that 35 car has.
I think we only have about 3 or 4 laps left here.
Down to 4 laps to go.
Oh, something happened there. Oh wait, never mind. I was a lap car. Silly me.
Tristan Reams in the Goodies pink and blue car there. Man, they're gonna really keep it clean here. I'm impressed.
Well, you know how we said earlier about there being a clean duel and a crazy duel?
Just throw that out the window?
Yep, I'd say so.
If this is any indicator, I think the Daytona 500 tomorrow should be a good one. It seems like even with pit stops, these guys keep finding ways to get back out in the mix and whatnot. One thing I will keep in my pocket is the potential to throw competition caution if things look like it needs it. but that's just used basically case by case basis if we need it. So nothing will be predetermined.
We might end up. I think we'll end up having a pretty good finish here.
48 of 50. You got Jeffrey Gerald now trying to get the lead. Good push there from Cam Jordan. 2 laps to go this time by.
We're 3 wide somehow.
Kevin Xavier's in the show right now. Kat Durham and Lynn Farrell would be out.
It's going to be unique to see how this cycle is going to cycle out. As with these, with a smaller amount of cars, we've gone back into the conveyor belt style of racing that we're used to.
That second pack's pretty well formed, but they ain't going to be able to catch this lead pack here as the white flag waving in the air.
Oh, he's out pretty far there. They'll go probably get a pretty big run on him.
Yeah, he's getting almost too much of a draft, or too much of a lead there. Draft behind him is going to close up on him.
Unless they start making moves on one another like that, that's exactly what that 78 wants to see be in his mirror right now.
And then there's Xavier.
Lap code might play a role.
Xavier just needs to keep it going straight. He doesn't need to spoil it or get caught up in a wreck here. As James Robert
gonna be a close one.
Is going to come to the line, and it's, I believe, Cam Jordan with the win there on duel number 2. It was close. Cam Jordan gets duel number 2 by slim margins there. It was almost 3 wide there at the finish line.
We might have to go to helicopter cam and see this.
That 42 had the momentum. But yep, you can see right
just
there.
Just by a nose.
It wasn't as close as the Hagen 2nd and 3rd place finish the other night, but still pretty darn close, as you have James Robert coming home 2nd, Daniel Paulus Jr. coming home 3rd, Matthew Fastnot is in the show, Bob Leader, Kevin Xavier is in the show, Tristan Reams, Jeffrey Gerald in the show. Sadly, Kat Durham is out of the show, but he can hold his head up high that he was able to hop in with the best of the best here, and perhaps maybe he gets an opportunity to come race again when we go to Rockford for a potential All-Star event. That would be kind of cool to have the local guy maybe racing the Open to try and make the All-Star event if we do that. I would like to do that. Liz, Chris, Jacob, DeBlank, Landa, Scott, Day 2, Armstrong makes the show today, so that's a good one right there. At least Zach Armstrong had a little bit of luck go his way getting into the show here today.
It's gonna be an exciting one tomorrow.
Roach makes the show. That's pretty cool. And that car with a decent run here today might change the sponsor opportunities for that car as well.
And I think the big mainstream headline story from all of this is who is going to be able to catch Braden Hunt?
Yeah, we might have to yeah, it might be the Braden Hunt show tomorrow. Obviously, his one Achilles heels seem to be pit stops, so that really
and
did...
inspection.
And inspection. But great racing. It's just an appetizer for what we have on tap tomorrow to get the big race underway. It's actually kind of different that this is our second race in the schedule rather than the season opener like it is in real life. But yep, I'll have to do an update and get the starting order set up for based on finishing positions and whatnot. But there is your official standings for duel number 2. Lynn Farrell with a blown header gets the worst of it here today and retires. His team owner Tyler Shangle as well, so that was a double whammy for TSR to get knocked out in duel number 2. The latter, with Tyler, will still be able to fight for the 500 win tomorrow. Then you got Kat Durham, who just had to try and just limp along and find a way and couldn't find the way. Xavier makes it a 4-car fight with LFG Motorsports. Add in Jeffrey Gerald as well as Chaz Chadwick and Chris Harvey. So even though What Army fails to make the show, he'll be a proud team owner knowing that he can watch his team fight for the win on the sidelines. And Cam Jordan gets it done, so that'll help him significantly as based on duel number 2, he should be starting 4th overall in the 500 tomorrow.
Well, Jacob, it's been a one fun call of you.
Yeah, thanks for hopping in with me. I think
Hopefully I can get in here again someday.
yeah, no, it seemed like the test went well. We were able to stream without too much of a frame rate drop. Being a 500-mile event tomorrow, I'll probably try to do it solo. But if you're free, it would be cool to hop in for some of the shorter ones. Maybe the trucks and Bridge to Cup where it's not like going to be a 3-hour ordeal. So
I would be completely on board with that.
sweet deal. So
On
thanks.
top of that, we've had a great audience here.
A lot of, yes, very much lively in the chat. It's nice having that. I appreciate that, everyone, giving us at least something to commentate and make remarks on. It makes it a little bit more enjoyable. So I've got a lot of work ahead of me here tonight as I'm going to get the rosters all set for tomorrow and expect the Daytona 500 probably about 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock actually, 3 o'clock Pacific Standard Time PM. So 6 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I should be getting ready at about that time to get the race started. So, any closing remarks on your end, Tayden?
It's gonna be a thrill tomorrow.
It sure will. Hopefully, everyone else that can tune in tomorrow will be there. Thanks for tuning in tonight. And hopefully, have a good night. Stay safe out there, and we'll catch you on the next.